look at this.
Are we on the
We're
internet?
here. Some people are seeing
guess.
us. Well, it says there's 3 eyeballs and there's 3 of us.
Okay.
So
There's at least that.
There should be at least.
Wait,
wait,
what you're telling me is
Jim, we got a friend here already. Says welcome home
Aw.
with a winky face. Hey, hey, Jim. Mary Ann says hi. Hello.
Mary Ann.
Yes. This when was the last time we were here? Okay, we're here all the time, but like virtually on our main page.
a month.
Has it
I
been?
would say it's definitely a month.
December 28th.
It's wild.
That is nuts.
Your
Yeah.
cat
So
say something?
it's,
Mine has
It says it's been.
the
you do
original,
that too. I do that too.
Yeah, I do.
the original 1936 Stubby.
Sweat is the cologne of success.
I love it.
What? So there's a bunch. We gotta collect them all.
I like it.
I defaced mine.
That's why I always smell so good.
It says be proud of doing it your own way.
So I have to tell you a funny story. The construction guys made fun of me the other day, and like it's not hard, obviously, right? Like they're men doing real work.
They're
and
doing
we're all
actual labor.
soft retail, yeah, babies. So they, I come in, and it was snowing, and it was bad weather out. So I had my Sorel boots on, right? Which like I've had 2 pair in the past 10 years. Like I have 1 pair that's like 10 years old.
They're solid boots.
They're nice,
They're-
right?
they're
Yeah,
pricey.
yeah,
The Gander
And
Mountain
the
Customs.
Gander Mountain ones, and I wanted to get a new pair before like I needed one, so I'd have a backup, right?
Right.
So I'm wearing the new pair. So then of course they look like they're
brand
new boots.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm standing there and I'm talking, and they just poured some concrete, and I'm watching them, and they're doing their thing. And then the boss, he goes, whoa, Brandon, step back. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? He goes, you don't want to get those fancy boots dirty there. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
You know what? Cancel.
You know what?
Cancel the
Yeah,
bill.
take it up. Get it out of here.
That's a good job.
So, yeah, shout out to Thompson Builds. They have been just chugging along on the new building. And
They're
it's
kicking ass.
pained me so much that we did not have the ability to share any of that progress, really. So go back, check our posts of the past couple of days, and you can see how far they've come, how close we are. I mean, it's still a long ways out, obviously, but compared to what we had, there's all of the footers. Here's some construction terms for you. All of the footers have been poured, and they're working on the rest of the foundation as we speak. The range, all of the big pieces of steel, like the beams and the rafters, those are up, and they've got the purlins up. Look at the just. I'm basically one of the crew, so
You're like,
they've got a lot of the framing of the steel done for the range. Now they're going to be working on the insulation and the walls and things like that, and they're hoping to get that range building turned over to us as soon as they can, so that we then can get in there ourselves and build out the range, right? So we're really hoping that we can get that range open first, and then the rest of the retail will follow. So I've been talking a ton. Do you guys want to shout out one of our beloved sponsors?
Beyond Driven Fitness and Performance, Main Street in Leroy, New York. You know them, you love them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been posting about going over there. I've actually been getting back in there myself after a little bit of a hiatus, and you guys should check it out too, because they have a lot of great programs over there. They got their Beyond Boxing, they have spin fit classes, they have all sorts of training for your scholastic athletes, whether they're middle school age, high school age, collegiate athletes. They're doing a lot of great stuff with the Leroy athletic programs over there. So check them out. Support a great local small business.
24/7 access too,
100%.
which I think is pretty cool. You know?
Yeah.
That's
They
right.
recently,
Yeah.
they recently switched apps. So they have a new app there, and I've been using it to, you can scan in there with your phone.
Yeah.
It's really handy to get, in
I'm
and
always
out.
losing stuff, so that's nice that it's on your phone.
Yeah, because, everybody's got
lose
their
a
phone with them all the
fob or
time.
Yeah,
And,
100%.
so.
Or
Good deal.
wristband, yeah.
And then along with Beyond Driven Fitness and Performance, our other sponsor is Arms Preservation, Inc., another great local small business out on the east side of Rochester. And they have a extensive line of their vapor corrosion inhibitor bags to go in your ammo cans, to protect your rifles, to protect your handguns, your shotguns, any other valuables that you might have safe for your optics, electronics, and all of your fine jewelry. Really a great product and a great company. So we appreciate them and all that they do.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah,
and,
thank you guys very much.
Just some great local people. That's what we love. We love to see. We're going to go to our online weather correspondent, April. She wants us to remind everyone to drive safe tonight with the fog out there. It is very, very
It was rough
foggy.
last night
Yeah,
too.
it was.
She always has some great observations to contribute to the conversation. So.
She wants me to shout out my dentist too.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's,
it's like a HIPAA thing, though. I don't think I will.
yeah, right?
They were like showing my wife the photo they took. You know how like when you go in, they take a little photo just so they like know who you are, like,
Yeah,
it's, like, the
yeah,
right
yeah.
guy or whatever. They were like, "You want to see your husband's photo?" And and I was like, "That's a hip. That's like there's some kind of law there that I probably shouldn't say." That's why I'm not saying their name. No, I'm okay. It's all right. It's fine.
Did you make it to the no cavity wall? Is that what it was?
No.
I'm always
Oh, the cavities
The
wall.
cavity.
I'm always on the no cavity wall.
We got a lot of shout outs, John, JT, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
one
got
of
a
our
lot
great fans
shout-outs.
supplied the beer for this evening, so
Yeah.
thank
Yes.
you for the
Thank
beer.
you, John.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it very much. You know who you are.
Super,
and we do
super good. This is a huge week in the gun industry. It's SHOT Show right
Massive,
now,
yeah.
which we did not go this year. We've gone a ton in the past. You've gone. Tyler's gone in the past. You've been.
I've been as
Not
a
with us.
representative of, yeah, but
Not with
company,
us, but-
yeah.
I've been a couple times. I know Huther went.
John,
Yeah.
John.
Yep. So it's definitely something that is expensive. It's in Vegas, right? So it's hard to get out there. And we went to some distributor shows this year. We talked about the Big Rock Show. You should watch Tyler and I's video on the Big Rock Show on YouTube. That was a lot of fun. And we just found those to be a lot more beneficial and rewarding than SHOT Show necessarily. SHOT Show is amazing. It's great to make those connections and see the latest and greatest and all the newest stuff. But yeah, that's obviously with everything going on. Just this year, it wasn't in the cards. So maybe next year for us, we will see. But I have a stack of news that we can go through. There's obviously a ton of new products that we can talk about. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it
We'll
looks
go
like
over
there's
that.
some cool stuff coming out this year.
Mhm.
I've been actually pleasantly surprised. I don't usually expect to see too much like cool stuff coming out of SHOT.
I feel like the last couple of years have been a little
Just-
lackluster, and this year there's a lot of stuff. I printed out like 10 articles, and
But-
that's only like
Well, let's
scratching
go
the
through a
surface.
couple and
Yeah.
see what people are doing.
So the other thing I want to tease is this little thing. I don't know if you know what this is, but if you want to find out, keep watching, and we're going to talk about this cool little device and what it is and what it can do and how you could utilize it. So yeah, sure, yeah. Tyler's gonna buy you one over there. Tyler's a little creep. He's here too. So this is kind of neat. There's a company called Crossfire. They announced the Viper Tac Bat. So
Yes.
you know when you go into your favorite local truck stop, they have the tire thumper to like check your tire pressure, right? It's the only thing you'd ever use one of those for. They turned it into a 22 long rifle, single shot gun. So there's that. Not that exciting. That's just the first
How
one.
does that get?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? That was somebody's good idea, though. That's the thing that I love about SHOT is you're just going to see the most random, like, who would want one of those? I think the quote was like, it's a single shot. It's super awkward. You're holding a loaded gun. Like, if you hold it like a bat and it's loaded, the barrel comes at the bottom. So you're, like, pointing it at yourself or whatever as you're fucking winging it around. It's heavy. It weighs, like, twice what a normal handgun
I'm
weighs.
sure it doesn't have
It's
any
the
actual
price
sighting system.
Of, like, an HK-VP9.
Are you serious? It's like
And it's
$800?
like, and then the quote ended with
like
like,
$700 or $800?
I'll take two. Like, why wouldn't I want that, right? Like, stupid. Some very fun news. Daniel Defense came out with 2 exciting new products.
Yeah, I saw
Their
this.
first handgun ever. So a lot of you may remember the Hudson H9, which was a pretty innovative, you know,
Super cool.
it's handguns, semi-automatic handguns. Like John Browning did a lot of lifting back in fucking 1900 and 1902, leading into the 1911. God bless. And
God
it's been hard to truly innovate off of that. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You know, unless they have more world wars, how are you going to get some
100%.
titles, right? So Hudson had a pretty cool product. I think they just couldn't nail, like, you can design a cool product, but then being able to manufacture the cool product is the harder part of that. They just couldn't do it. And now Daniel Defense has,
Picked it up.
they must have bought the rights of some way. I mean, I know it's a completely redesigned.
Yeah, I think break down to the. I think the only thing that they left from the Hudson was like the plunger disconnect or something like that. Everything else is completely theirs,
Mhm.
which is cool.
So I don't know. There has to have been some kind of licensing.
Makes
I'm
me
sure,
nervous about
but
the magazines. They didn't outright say what the magazines were.
they don't. No, it does. It just says it feeds from 15 round magazines,
Yeah.
probably proprietary, you know. And then they have a PCC, which, you know,
I'm
honestly
excited
looks
about
like
that.
any of their other AR-15s. It's just in pistol cals now. So
I think it's
that's
cool
pretty
because they made this. They made the CZ magazine non-proprietary because it takes the CZ Scorpion mags, which is cool.
Yeah, and that a lot of people were shitting on that, but I do think like double stack, double feed.
Yeah,
Like
it makes them less expensive now because
Yeah.
more than one
It's a-
firearm.
it's a
it's a
popular-
known product. It's
Yeah.
a known item.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of aftermarket support for that with like Terran tactical
Mhm.
base plates and different
Mhm.
things you can do. So yeah, probably a smart move to use those mags. They're known for making a pretty high quality AR platform generally. So I think their PCC will probably be pretty good. I'm not as stoked about it, but because I don't care about PCCs as much. But.
Same, but people like them.
Yeah, no, you can sell. We'll definitely like be able to sell them.
Joe, I think you were excited about that one I just handed you.
Not really.
No,
really.
not
So
at all.
Smith and Wesson said what we don't have enough of is lever guns. So they said, let's make a Henry Marlin love child and put our name on it. And they made the 1854.
Did we ever figure out where they got that year from? Is that what
It-
Henry or
it- it-
Smith and Wesson
It's
was?
just a volcanic pistol,
Yeah.
Joe was just saying, yeah. Which, great.
Can I see that?
Personally, I think Ruger may have approached them and said, hey, we have too much demand for the Marlin. Can you help us out? Because it's a Marlin 336.
I know I'm drawing this
Footprint.
behind you, but you should read that and talk about it.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know. For
the-
someone who's super brand loyal, I think they're super excited because now Smith and Wesson offers everything.
yeah.
Schmidt, Rubin, yeah.
The only argument I could make or think of is like if you wanted to get a Marlin or a Ruger
Mhm.
or even a Henry 44 mag, those are, I don't want to say hard to get,
Yeah.
but they can be difficult. They're not as common as every other gun kind of
Mhm.
like out there. So I don't know. I mean, if they're adding another however many guns a year they're going to make,
I just
You
hope
know?
that they can, if people move away from Marlin and Henry and go to Smith, I hope Smith can pick up the slack and actually
sure.
produce and not
Sure.
just have another stale.
It is an interesting choice. I mean, it's good for a state like New York. It's giving us another option where you
Mhm.
don't need a semi-auto rifle license to buy.
Right.
But it is interesting, like just the way the market has been so, modern sporting rifle,
Mhm.
MSR, and now they're bringing out, they're going backwards almost.
A lot of companies are going with lever guns now, though. There's a lot of different custom companies out there doing weird stuff with like. There's a lot of aftermarket handguards from like Midwest Industries, and there's a lot of tactical rail stuff and red dots and suppressors are now going on.
And
lever
Ranger
guns.
Point is just rolling in it now.
Yeah, like there's so
Now they
many different like ways that they're trying to take a lever gun and kind of make it more modern, which when you talk about restrictive states, it does make a lot of sense, right? Because
Yeah.
ultimately like having more options is better, right? And so
Sure,
those
that's
are-
how I see it. Like, yeah.
I don't necessarily think that those guns are like, my cup of tea per se, or
Sure,
like that they're
sure.
super exciting or groundbreaking. But I do think it's interesting just to see how the industry takes something old and tries to make it new.
Mhm.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think with the lever guns, like I do think there's some interesting stuff happening. You know what I mean? Like when you think about like a Winchester 1894, like in 30-30, it's like a brush gun, right? Like a lot of people use them for like a light, short, handy rifle that shoots like in kind of an intermediate caliber sort of deal in like that, you know, lever action, like inline, slim, lightweight kind of profile. And now they're adding suppressors and red dots and things that make them even more fit that kind of mold for like hog hunting or
blend of old and new.
Yeah. So, you know, I get it. And like, why not? More power to them. Let them.
Kevin says, good to see you guys. Hope we're all well. And John mentions that he won a Marlin 336 in 35 Remington.
Cheers. That's a cool
great rifle, great
Super
caliber.
cool.
Yeah.
Only gun he's ever won in a raffle 45 years ago. Yeah.
Still really cool.
Super cool. Super
Yeah,
cool.
well, 45 years ago, I'm sure that's a really nice gun too.
It's his canoe rifle. He takes it with him.
Oh man, that's got to be a really cool.
John, I gotcha. So speaking of fun things coming up, we haven't even talked about the Kodak class, have we?
No.
Not yet.
We have got the class of all classes happening this weekend. We still have spots. Hopefully we can drop a link in the comments. This started out as just kind of like a what if. Could we book a major venue at all? And that was just kind of the question. Would they work with us? Kind of no matter what it was, right? We figured, all right, kind of the one thing nobody could say no to is a safety class, you would think.
Well,
So-
now and that's state mandated, so like
right, we have to do it.
we have to do it
Right.
anyway. If people are going to take them.
So I also knew, you know, this is a huge financial barrier for a lot of people. We've been saying it since day one. New York loves to make classist and racist laws when it comes to gun control. And, you know, who needs that class? You know, who can we help the most? City of Rochester. So we wanted to do a class in the city as close as we could, you know, to, you know, the market that we want to help the most. And so we called around, took us a few tries, and we went with the Kodak Center. We partnered with them. They were super welcoming right from the get-go. They were very excited about it. They were also in disbelief that we were having trouble with other large venues, and I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, this Sunday, we have an 8-hour handgun safety class, right? And it is open to anyone, really. You don't have to be over 21. You don't have to be interested in getting your permit. It's just a great intro or refresher to firearm safety. We've got a lot of people actually signed up that already have their permit. They just want a refresher on all the laws because they changed so much. And so this class is great as a standalone class. You can come down, get this 8 hours of training, and be done with it. But if you'd like to, you can use that as 8 hours of the required 18 to get your pistol permit in New York. So we're super excited about it. We have got 900 some students, over 900 students.
Plus, yeah.
We're getting nervous because we only ordered so much food, right? Like there is a limit to that. So there are still seats available though. If you are interested or if you know someone that has been wanting to get their permit, you know, they don't have to go all the way right now. They can just take this class for $15.
How
They
long
have-
is this initial? I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, you're fine.
But how long is this initial?
So there's really
Class gonna be good
not
for-
a ton of guidance on that.
Right.
The rule is once you have finished the class, you have 1 year from the point of graduation. Now we're saying you also have 1 year to complete the second part.
loop or to
Right.
close the loop. Okay.
And we're not saying you'd have to take the entire 8 hours again. You might have to just take a refresher course because there's going to be a test. So that's the big thing is how well have you paid attention, absorbed the information. You know, we're worried that if you do wait 10 months, 11 months,
You're not going to retain.
you might not be able to pass the test.
Yep.
You know, and we're not trying to be, you know, jerks about it and get more money from you or whatever. But there are standards that we have to hold everybody to. And we put a big disclaimer in the waiver for this class that like, we are not a diploma mill. You know, just because you paid and you sat does not mean you graduate. You have to actively participate when, if necessary, you have to, you know, pay attention. You have to perform up to our standards because it is a big deal. You know, it is a big deal. So I don't know. What are some of the questions that people have been asking, or what are your anything you want to tell people about the Kodak class they should know?
No, I mean everything's you covered it really well. I guess the big thing is probably if anyone is watching that's going to class is showing up early. The class starts at 9. The tickets say 8. If you can be there at least between 8 and 8:30, that'd be great. Yeah, I mean the food, the lunch situation. We have definitely enough food, but if
We do.
people,
we have 1,200
if people
meals.
aren't happy
Yeah.
with the meal, I mean they have an hour for lunch. So
Yep.
they can go, come back.
Yeah. We're gonna have some merch there.
There's gonna be a lot of
merch.
us there. So if there's any questions,
Yeah, TFP
We'll be
staff
there.
will be pretty deep there. I'll be there helping out with some stuff, and you guys will see me milling around being creepy.
Our good friend Rob says it's too bad they closed the gun range in the basement. And I know a lot of people do know this, but a lot of people don't. The building that the Kodak Center is in was built entirely for the employees of Kodak. It had a bowling alley.
Kodak Rec Room.
It had all sorts of things. It had a huge cafeteria. It had an executive dining room. It had all sorts of fun stuff, including a shooting range. And they even wanted to build a pool, but they never did. Like up on like the 5th floor or whatever.
Why not? Bowling
So
alley.
yeah, there are a lot of people. I would love. Someone has got to have pictures out there. I have not been able to find any online. I've searched a couple times
Of like the range in use or whatever.
just of any kind of picture evidence. Not that I don't believe people, but I would just love to see a picture of it in use, of the club, of whatever.
Yeah.
So if you were a member, if you have relatives that were a member,
I was told.
try to send us some photos.
I
That'd be super
I was
cool.
told. I don't know how true it is that Virgin Rod Gun Club back in I don't know the 80s or so, they got the range. Like they went, or some people from the Virgin Rod Gun Club got
like the steel of it or something, or
whatever. So I would assume they would take pictures of that because who wouldn't?
Super cool. Yeah, right. It had a pool. They never filled it. Man, Rob just knows about Kodak, I guess.
Rob,
Anthony
thanks,
is here. He's listening in. Rob has memories. I've got memories as a kid of bowling down there and seeing the range. All right, make sure. What time is it, Rob? I think you need to be getting to bed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Don't roast our viewers.
He's the best.
There's
though.
so
He's
few
the
of them.
best.
How are we gonna?
28 of them.
How you gonna bust their balls?
So I'm going to switch back real quick to some SHOT Show news. Now, this is one thing I do love about certain distributor shows. Shout out to Mr. Kevin Bach at Big Rock. We were at the show in Nashville, right, which is like 2 weeks before SHOT Show. And we actually saw this new Taurus. So Taurus and Rossi and Heritage, right, they're all linked together. They have made that Heritage, the Rough Rider, for years and years and years. They got some,
22
they got some competition now, like from Ruger, right?
Ruger,
And so they wanted to, they're like, you know what? We got to go all in on the Cowboy brand. Everyone's wanted more from them. So now they have it, the Deputy line, which is an affordable, Cowboy single action army style revolver, 45 Colt they're starting with. MSRP is $600, so they'll be more like 500,
Affordable.
550, right?
Affordable.
Yeah, so very affordable. They looked really sharp. We got to see them at the Big Rock show, and they were super cool, super cool. Do you want to go with? I thought you'd be interested in that one.
Yeah. So H&R Harrington Richardson been around since I want to say pre-50s even, because we started using them in Korea with their Garands and stuff. Got picked up. They were with Note Expud, got picked up by them. Note Expud then got picked up by PSA, which is Palmetto State Armory. And now they've been doing a huge line of retro rifles, being your M16s, your M4s, your Colt sort of prototype stuff that they're doing.
So like XM 177.
Yep, your 177s, your CAR 15s. They're doing an LMG now, which is the M16A5, which I'm really excited about. So they took an M16 and made it look like an M60 because why not? And now Brandon handed me, they're doing wood stock sets for your AR to make it even more retro, which was never actually used in the service or used as a prototype, but according to this thing, it should have been, which I agree, which tells me that you're able to buy those wood sets, which you could from Boyd's furniture or Boyd stock.
Boyd stocks.
Boyd stocks. This one is not made by Boyd's. It says it's made by American Icon, which is veteran owned and U.S. source materials. So we like all of that, which is super exciting.
Sure.
But yeah, it comes in 2 different flavors, which is the Aberdeen Brown
Ooh.
and the Battle Born.
Looks
finish.
like they're only 20-inch though, right? So they like M16A1
Yeah, this is your A1
triangles
stuff. Yep.
and then M16A2 round ones too, or no?
It looks like they're just doing the A1 pattern and then the A2 length on the buttstock, but
Okay.
not on the actual grip itself.
Jeff goes, wood stock sets, you say?
Yes, I'm excited about that. The only thing I'm the most concerned about is the A1 handguard is inherently skinny.
Yes.
So I hope that they
Fragile.
incorporated a metal sort of internal to absorb that heat
Sure.
and not crack.
Could
Because
be some
that,
sort of reinforcement.
that was a huge problem,
It's
and
got a
hence
nice
why they did.
charred oaky smell.
Honestly, it probably smells fantastic.
Ken asks if Kodak is first come, first serve as far as seating. Yeah, we weren't able to assign
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
reservation.
seats
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, so
If you want to sit in the upper higher echelon spot, you certainly can. But
unless we go over, I think 1,300 is the capacity like downstairs. So unless we go over that, which of course we will after this,
I'll be
airs,
sitting up there.
I mean, after
with my opera glasses.
Jeff says he's gonna get started on his new Vegas Elite Ride armor that he's gonna do.
So
Sounds
someone has already, according to TFP TV, someone has done the new Vegas rifle. So it's possible. I would do
I
the
love
battle.
it.
Personally, I would do the Battleborn and get some scabs going. Yeah.
I'm gonna get to you with yours.
no worries.
You got that,
Yeah.
right? Shadow. I figured it'd be right up your alley.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just gonna lightning round through some stuff. Our friends JR Carbine, right?
Yeah.
Just Right Carbines. They have a Gen 4.
Locally sourced.
They're locally grown.
sourced by the lake.
Their Gen 4, they have a pretty cool removable buttstock, basically. No tools.
Thank God.
You can just click that buttstock off, and then it's takedown still on the front end if you get a takedown one. And so now it's super easy to, nice and compact, basically.
Everything's takedown with tools.
Interceptor ammo. They make polymer bullets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They've expanded now. You can buy those as components. So if you want to reload your own using their, I don't know what kind of polymer or plastic it is, but they're super lightweight, and a lot of guys like them obviously because they're lead free. And I
Great
think
for
that,
indoor shooting and stuff.
that's the way to
Yeah.
go. I honestly, I'm.
As far as like frangible stuff or like
It's great for
up
frangible
close,
stuff.
yeah.
Yep. And I don't know. I see that as the future. That's like the big health hazard when it comes to our industry, you know,
Yeah.
is lead exposure and stuff.
And it's so under people don't really hear about it as much as they feel like they should.
Yeah.
I don't think
yeah.
people have as much knowledge about like shooting
shrug it off,
indoors
like, you know,
or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's more risk inherent in some of that lead exposure stuff than you might think. So it's a good
Absolutely.
idea to get your lead levels checked periodically and stuff like that, because
Mhm.
lead exposure is one of those things where once your levels get too high, you know, I don't want to say there's no coming back from it, but like
It takes a while to flush it out of your system. It's a
heavy metals
heavy metal.
build up.
Yeah. Not the good kind of heavy metal either. Like,
No. Not the kind we all love.
Wraith has a polymer upper and lower AR, which I had not heard of a polymer upper AR before. That's taking it's $500 complete, less than 5 pounds. So I want to try to get one and test one out, maybe like from behind a tree at first, you know. But
Let's get some M197 proof rounds.
there we go. The last thing that I'll bring in the lightning round is Aimpoint has a cool new shotgun acro, basically where
Finally, right?
it can
Yeah.
clamp onto the vent rib. I just thought that was pretty cool.
To the vent rib.
So now you don't have to drill and
All right.
tap your shotgun. You don't have to do anything. You just onto most, it says, vent ribs.
All
It's
right.
got a special clamp, and you just clamp that bitch right onto the vent rib. So I'm really thinking about getting one of those and trying it. It'll be a year from now, by the time we get one.
Couple two tree,
But, yeah. I think it'll be a lot of fun to try with some trap.
I think optics, like, just put optics on everything. Just optics all the way around.
I saw a video. A guy was saying that if you don't use optics on a handgun, like a red dot, obviously, that you are gun Amish. Like if you're still using iron sights, you consider yourself
I-
done.
I think you
take
can
offense
use
to
them.
that. I'll have you know.
I
that-
think using them and being proficient with them is good,
yeah.
right? I think it's good to understand like aiming schemes, but just in general, like just target focused shooting, I think is like better. And I think that a lot of people that use irons haven't woken up to that fact yet. So once they do, combining your irons and target focused shooting, I think you'll still have better results than you might think.
I haven't forgotten. I hope you have not forgotten about this. Stay tuned. We're still going to talk about this cool thing from Garmin. Yes, Garmin, the GPS people and the fish finder and avionics people make shooting sports stuff, actually, believe it or not. Do you want to talk about yours? I feel like I skipped you a bunch.
That's all right. So Shadow Systems has unveiled a couple of new pistols, guys. They have an MR920P now. And the MR920P is going to be a compensated version of your MR920, which is a very popular handgun configuration. It's essentially a Glock 19 grip frame with a Glock 17 slide length. Very handy for a carry gun. Gives you a long sight radius, long barrel, gives you excellent accuracy, recoil management, all of that good stuff that you want with a Glock 19 grip frame. Now it's going to have a comp on it. Comps like optics, I think, are like, I don't even want to say the future at this point. I want to say like comps are now.
The future's now.
Right. Yeah. The future is now, old man. Right. So like, I think everybody that, isn't making a gun with a compensator will be doing one very, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not, they're behind the power curve. So Shadow Systems, one of the interesting things about their comps is these ones don't seem to rely on a threaded barrel to attach. It seems like they attach through the guide rod assembly, which is better because here in New York State, you can actually still use a comp without having to thread it onto your barrel, which I think is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys don't know what a compensator can actually do for you, it's actually going to help you shoot significantly flatter with your pistol because it's just going to keep the gun by venting gases upward and pushing the pistol down. It's going to keep your sights much more flat relative to your target.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. They also have a suppressor, the MR923. Which I think is pretty. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Not something. I have another article here about Savage and their suppressors, and I just love how more mainstream they're becoming.
Yeah, I think more manufacturers, especially when like somebody like Savage gets into the suppressor game, because they're known more on the hunting side. I mean, they do have a tactical line of bolt guns that perform really well and are popular in the circles that they're known in, I guess. But at the same time, when they start going down the suppressor road, you're right. It does bring it more into the focus of like the mainstream.
Yeah.
And when we start talking about things like, hearing loss and all that stuff, it makes a lot of sense why people would want them, especially like for hunting applications.
Oh,
and stuff
sure.
Where you're not going to have ears in necessarily or whatever. So
we got a couple shout outs. Jeremiah.
My man.
Buddy. Hope everything's. Is he
Hope you're well,
still
buddy.
over
You could tell us.
in no man's land, or is he? I don't know.
I don't know what he's up to these days.
We haven't gotten Black Rifle coffee,
From
so we must
parts
not be. Yeah.
unknown.
But we hope you're doing well, buddy. Miss you.
James says, "Evening, freedom-loving friends." Absolutely. Kevin said that he not Bach. Kevin says he put his first optic on a handgun last year. Definitely like it a lot better.
Game changer, my friend.
Welcome to the
Game
club.
changer.
Jonathan has a great. I'm gonna put this up here.
Jonathan is my
I'm gonna do
homeboy.
it. Look at that. After the Kodak Center event proves super successful, let's organize a big training day, like tactical game style, minus the shooting, just a big ruck march and a physical challenge with a hangout at TFP 2.0 after. I love that.
Bro, I'm into
Absolutely
it.
love
We'll
that.
get together on that for sure.
That would be awesome.
Jonathan, you have my info. Let's get together on
It's
that.
definitely one of the things that I'm most excited about the Kodak class is we're going to have 900 plus Second Amendment lovers, hopefully,
Or
at least.
900 new people that are now
that we can like
that
hey,
know another 900
like
people that
this
know another.
is the truth.
Okay.
We're gonna just be Morpheus sitting there.
Here's the thing to me, though. Even if they're not necessarily like Second Amendment lovers
Mhm,
when they walk through the door,
mhm.
right? They're at least Second Amendment acknowledgers and respecters,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And they're at least acknowledgers of personal responsibility and people who value their own sense of like self-reliance and things like that.
Yeah.
So the Second Amendment loving portion, I think we're going to bring a lot of that, hopefully, to the people that are, that want to learn more and stuff like that. I'm really excited to talk to it. I think it's going to be a really diverse group of people. I think we're going to have a lot of different opinions in the room and different people that have their own preconceived notions or whatever, and hopefully we can break down some of those barriers.
I'm really hoping, exactly. I'm hoping we can make, 900 some ambassadors that can go out into their communities and, hey, you're going to be that example of good firearms role modeling, right? I'm just very excited about that.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got a lot of questions actually that have just rolled in.
Please, yeah.
So
let's answer some.
Again, our buddy Jeremiah, any opinions on the new Beretta BRX1, the Beretta 1301 Mod 2, and the Ruger American Gen 2? So do you want to take over any of those? Any thoughts on?
We actually have the Ruger American Gen 2, a couple of them in stock.
Very
I like it a
cool.
lot. My biggest gripe is the Savage triple safety, where you have all the way on where it locks the gun and the bolt. Then you can have it off, or you can just actuate the bolt. Then you can have it all the way off. I don't know why that is a huge demand.
Yeah.
I guess it is, but that's always just been a huge miss for me.
It does seem like it's very hunting specific.
But if you're trying to get into that tactical line of stuff, which is not actually tactical, it's actually makes sense from a standpoint of what they did. It's really cool as that ranch. When I think of a ranch rifle in the 21st century, that is a ranch rifle in the 21st century, which is super cool. The stock is super comfy. It feels good with the weight because they fluted with the whole barrel. They chamfered the action. It's as a whole a fantastic gun. In the 5.56, I haven't held anything else other than the 5.56. And the 1301 have not seen, but looking at the research, I don't know if they changed a whole lot other than they definitely took the furniture from the A300 Ultimate Patrol and put it on the 1301, which they should have done anyways, because that's just makes sense for the price point. You have to kind of justify, not only are you getting the blink action, but you're getting other stuff with it that they were giving at $600 less in their Ultimate Patrol. Still awesome. I don't know if it justifies, if you already have a 1301, getting the newer one.
Sure.
But if you're getting the newer one and you don't have anything, then get that second generation. It also just means that the market that was flooded with 1301s is going to be tanking down, which means scoop
That's
those
what
up.
I'm looking forward to.
Come to pop. Give me a green one. If you guys have an OD green one, don't give it. McCardle wants two. So 2 for me, and then I'll share with them.
So before we go any further, I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit, and I want you guys to look up the new Palmetto State Armory shotgun.
The 790 or the 890 or whatever they're called.
What does they do?
They're just commies.
They don't support New York. They don't support New York.
They don't support New York State. Yeah, I thought they were trying to arm as many people as possible. That's kind of, I do have a bone to pick with them in that regard. But I like some of the innovation.
Also,
I like some of the stuff that they
Pat
do.
just said, look at the shotgun.
Well,
which is
do you guys
historical.
do you guys know who it was developed in conjunction with? The only person who could actually potentially sway me to use a shotgun for a serious application,
Clint Smith.
no, Steve Fisher from Sentinel Concepts. So he teaches some like really top-notch shotgun stuff, and he is a big believer in like the actual applications of shotguns, which I've never been a big proponent of.
Yeah.
But I've considered taking one of his classes just to like educate myself from somebody that like clearly, has bought in, and because I know like who Steve Fisher is, and I know who he is in the training industry, and like, he's pretty accomplished dude outside of that, right? So, but he developed the PSA shotgun in conjunction with them, and it's like optics ready. It's got like a little optics plate that you can like take off and mount like a little. Yeah, it looks pretty neat.
Man.
Like I'm not.
Mossberg did it. They started doing it.
I'm not really that big of a fan of shotguns. It's like really well documented. But if I was going to start looking at shotguns, we were just talking about the Berettas. I would definitely look at a Beretta shotgun. And if I was going to look more into like something less expensive than that, I would probably look at something that I knew was specifically designed as like, hey, this is a defensive application shotgun, designed from the ground up by somebody that actually like gives a shit about like using a shotgun for that application. So
Jeff makes kind of a dig at Palmetto, saying they should name their PSA should stand for Palmetto Grad Oblast Armory. So Jeremiah says he is doing well. The sun is still out daily where he is, but he can't confirm where he is.
That's fine.
Steven asks, are we doing any gunsmith stuff? You want to take that one?
Very, very, very minimal. If we're considering gunsmithing to be site swaps and the occasional cleaning and maybe diagnosing something to then move forward with something else, yes. Just wish we had more room to do stuff. It gets very difficult when you want us to do something right, when we want to do it right for you too. We also have 10 other customers in the building, and you're trying to take care of that, but someone else sees you and they think that you can help them out, and you want to be able to help everyone. We're getting there. We are getting there. We want to give as 120% that we've been doing with everyone, but we want to do it right, and we don't want to rush it, and you deserve the world. So very, very little, but depending on what it is, we can either direct you to somebody who can do it quickly, or we can try to do it ourselves within reason, of course. If you bring in a shotgun that, quote, did not have the right barrel with it, and then try to make the barrel fit, and you use the end of said barrel as a battering device.
Was he ordering that? He had to have been.
The vent rib, right? No joke, the vent rib was curled up, and he was using it as the rear sight. So
did he get the wrong? Was it really the wrong barrel?
No, it was not. It was not the wrong barrel, but the way it went in, it was wrong. So
that was brutal. That was brutal.
We will cater to whatever you need us to do, but again, you just got to bear with us with what we have and what we don't have.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be selfish. I have to share.
If you go on Reddit, we'll post that picture, and we'll.
My kid sent me a message and shared it on the screen.
Hey, kid,
go to bed. I love you, kiddos.
Speaking of, I got my dress sparkly was in the shop.
So, what has been your personal favorite thing from SHOT Show this year? I know it's not over yet, but like just your personal, what just got you going the most? Got that blood flowing. Yeah,
not the one that Josiah is talking about either. The Viltor M16A5, where they took a Viltor A5 system adjustable stock setup and put it on with a 20-inch barrel,
which is how it should be.
So the M16A4, as some of you guys will know, was a rifle that I carried during my service, and it had like the really long M16A4 stock with a 20-inch barrel and a rail system. It was an awesome gun for what it was. I really like 20-inch guns. I still love 20-inch guns. But I always wanted something with an adjustable length of pull because I'm short and I have short arms. And so the longer stock just was not fit right for me. I always thought the M16A1 was the proper stock length, like period. So now I can have an M16A1 length stock.
Super cool.
With that fixed front sight base and a flat top. And
did they just make that A5 designation up? Or was that an actual?
So the A5 designation is a rifle length.
It's a rifle length.
That's adjustable. So you could have it out to rifle length, but you still.
So that's an official like that.
That is an official.
Yeah. So
it's canon.
I understand that the Marine Corps now is fielding some M16A5 rifles. So yes, it is actually a designation within the military. They are using M16A5s right now, wherever the Marines are doing their thing.
When we have the new building, will we be able to do pinning and welding?
Yes.
Yeah. When we have the new shop up and running, yeah. And I want to circle back to gunsmithing. One of the things we are offering right now is armorer services for pretty much the entire SIG handgun line, right? Do you want to speak to that over there? Or?
Mr. Armor?
It's everything but 911s.
Yeah. So those don't need any gunsmithing. Why would
P365, P320, any of the P-series hammer guns.
Is there a bomb about to go off somewhere?
Single, double, single, DAC. I
But yeah, you are.
And converted that to a single action, double action.
So that's what someone would actually want.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what you should do.
So yeah, the other Josiah M over here, is a certified armorer for SIG. Has been to 3 armor schools now through them. So is basically a learned doctor is how I see it when it comes to SIG. And you're probably only going to further that education, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. So if you have any SIG handguns that need any kind of work, bring them down. We can help you out as a or accessorizing. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we also do offer stippling services right now through Brian at Dapper Ghost, which is another little enterprise that's kind of started up here, had its roots developed here at the firing pin. Brian has come a long way, I will say, from when he first started. I mean, stippling is like any other art form almost, where it takes a while to get good. A lot of us helped him out in the very beginning by just, hey man, like, don't mess my gun up. Like, I'm giving you a lot of faith and trust by letting you burn the plastic on my $500-600 handgun. But
let me remove material real quick.
He has really, I think he does a very good job. I think that's one of those things I would be hesitant. Like, it's just such a pain in the ass, especially in New York, to ship something out and to have somebody else, because you could go online and find the best shop in the world to do the work, and you could wait in line 6 months and pay probably triple the price or whatever. And objectively, it probably would be better than what Brian could put out. But
today,
is it exactly?
Today.
And it's not like it's 100% compared to 10%. You're talking like 100% if that's the top end company to 90%. Brian does an excellent job. He does very, very good stuff.
But you're also looking at pictures. Brian,
that is true.
We have actual tried and true
That is
demos,
true.
so you can pick and choose from a paint swatch that you're not only able to look at, but you're able to hold and feel and kind
And
of go from there.
you're talking weeks, maybe at the most, right now. Basically, immediately done. Very affordable, and really, it's a huge performance increase. There are some guns that are downright slippery.
It's very beneficial to increase the texture on a lot of different handguns. I think Brian has done 3 or 4 different frames for me at this point. And I've never been unhappy with his work.
Yeah.
He did one of his first jobs on my gun. And then once he actually got going with his business, I actually came back and I was filling out order forms where before it was like, hey dude, go do this.
Right.
But
I'm not gonna be upset.
actually filling out complete order forms and waiting in line like everybody else. And but it's worthwhile because he does a great job and he is local and he really cares about not only the customers, but also the craft. He's legitimately trying to develop his skill set. And I think that there's value in that. So you should support Brian when he's doing
It's a cool blend of thing where it's practical, but it can also be very artistic too. He's done some very cool artsy things with the stippling. And to tease a little bit of what we're going to be able to offer in the new shop, he is Cerakote certified.
Right.
So we are going to be doing firearms, and I'll be totally honest, I was ignorant of this. We're going to be doing vehicle Cerakote
you can do everything
as well.
Yeah.
So there's a whole line of polishing and automotive grade products and services that Brian is going to offer that we're super excited about. So obviously it just takes space right now. He's been literally every day driving me nuts. Brian, when's the new shop going to be ready? And I'm like, Brian, you've been here.
Walk outside,
every
you
day.
can see.
Yeah. Bro.
Why don't you go out there and start swinging the hammer?
Come on.
Go get your boots dirty.
So we are going to be able to do basically anything you want when it comes to a gun, any kind of customization from the most practical and tactical to the most flamboyant, floral pattern, whatever Tyler, wants to put on. We should do a vote where we pick one of your guns and the audience gets to decide the most ridiculous, outlandish thing, and you have to let Brian Cerakote it. So fucking Sailor Moon on your gun or whatever.
Buys it for me.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah. But that's your carry gun now. Until
How we do the holster, and I'll do the holster, and I'll have whatever you want on the holster.
Zebra stripe high point. Yeah, like.
I love it.
I mean, say less. I would,
Here's a question:
Oh.
Does the Maverick 88 have pre-drilled and tapped holes?
no, it does
The
not.
Maverick does
No,
not.
that's
no.
that's another thing that kind of
Do you have to
sets.
step up to a 590? A 500 have it too.
a 500.
Yeah. And an 835 would have it, or any of those.
Which would be
Yeah.
your That's more of like your Magnum
Yeah, yeah.
style of stuff. Yep.
So that'll be something that's on the top of our list
Mhm.
of when we are able to have real gunsmithing
Mhm.
services. We got to get a Bridgeport basically and have the right people be able to do it, which we have. But we got to get the space and the equipment. But that's on the top of the list: drilling and tapping, threading barrels, cutting for red dots. Those are all.
Pin and welds, all
Yeah,
that
yep,
good stuff.
yep.
In the meantime, though, if you have a Maverick 88, there's saddle mounts and stuff that you can attach to it in the meantime. That way you don't have to worry about removing
Probably
material.
should have brought this up at the beginning. We are giving away a tourniquet tonight, courtesy of the gentleman who I have highlighted right now, who asked the question. Pat,
Yo.
do you feel that people should be shooting proficiently with iron sights before going to an optic?
Okay, so that's a really interesting question, and I'm gonna have a bit of a controversial take, and I'm gonna say no. And the reason I'm gonna say no is because first of all, the failure rate on optics has gone down significantly over time, right? So like the idea that your optic is just gonna like turn off, or
Sure.
like your batteries are gonna die or anything like that. Like with maintenance and proper installation and all of this stuff on the
Mhm.
user side, we can take care of a lot of that on the front end, right? So
Mhm.
let's just pretend that the optic is not ever going to just die or turn off, right?
Sure.
We'll just assume that. So your optic will always be there theoretically. If you can shoot with your optic, that's great. But if you can shoot with your optic, you can also shoot with your iron sights as well, right? Because a lot of the concepts are going to be the same. And I'm always going to encourage you to shoot using a target focus. So I don't necessarily view the need to learn one before the other, or even like, I don't think that shooting with irons would help you shoot more proficiently once you transition over to a dot, right? I think if anything, getting a person to shoot with a dot first enables them to perceive a lot more about what happens in between times when they're pressing the trigger, right? In other words, what happens while the gun is standing there, or while the gun is cycling, right?
Yeah.
You can just tell a lot more about how much the gun is moving, because you can never actually hold the gun totally still, right?
Sure. Yeah,
But
yeah,
with your iron sights, you can kind of almost fool yourself into thinking the gun isn't moving a whole lot. Whereas with your dot, you can really perceive all of the little micro movements that are going on in the pistol a lot better, right? So for me, if I have a person who's not shooting particularly well with irons, it might be better to just put them on a dot right away, and then have them actually like just holding the gun, kind of watching the dot as it's in the wobble area around the target, so they get a better understanding of what their actual wobble area is, right? Because whenever we're holding a gun, it's always going to be moving. It's just depending on who's holding the gun, how much is it going to move. Does that make sense? So like, to me, I had a brand new shooter in there this evening, right? So the woman that I was in there working with right before we came on the stream, she had fired perhaps 3 rounds through somebody else's handgun her entire life. She's not a handgun owner. She was just here looking for a little bit more information before she makes a purchase. So we were out there doing some shooting, and the first thing I did was I took a gun with an optic and I put it in her hand, as opposed to a gun. I could have given her a gun with iron sights.
Sure.
But for me, it just shortens the learning curve if I can just say, as opposed to, hey, align this front sight with your rear sight. Now keep both of those aligned with your target at the same time, versus see that target, take it and put the green dot on it.
Sure. It's definitely one of those things a lot of us take it for granted. Like, I grew up with a Daisy BB gun, like from day one, basically. So I kind of had already figured out how to use sights, traditional, notch and post sights. So I got that. But there's a lot of people where you're right. Like, this is their first time handling any firearm ever in real life.
How much more complex is it
It's
to
a lot.
aim with
Yeah.
iron sights
It-
versus with an optic?
It definitely can be. That's one of those things that either like you get it or it kind of takes you a little bit, and not for nothing, especially with someone who, you know, maybe isn't an 18-year-old in the military joining up for the first time. Maybe they catch that on a little bit faster. Definitely, as I'm getting older, I have noticed like those aged eyes, it makes a difference. It is harder.
So yes,
Yeah.
that's the other thing that as soon as you brought up the age factor, right? I'm
Mhm.
like, yes, aged eye shooters, right? So once you hit like 35 years of age or so, macular degeneration starts to set in, right? So once your eyes start to deteriorate, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you can actually see, like your eyes are now less precise.
Mhm.
So whatever aiming scheme I'm giving you to use, whatever the tool you have, I want the tool to be as precise as possible because that's going to help compensate for what your eyes no longer do, right? So when I'm working with somebody who's older, frankly, rather than having them try to use bifocals in conjunction with iron sights, sometimes it's better to just be like, hey, see the target out there? Keep your eyes on that target and then just bring the gun up to the eye target line and look for that color green against the target.
Do you think it's a fair comparison to say shooting with an optic is like driving an automatic compared to a manual? Is that too far of a stretch? What do you think, Joe?
No, I think that's within personal opinion. I think that's it's a good analogy because you're getting rid of everything
Mhm.
and you're jumping in with both your feet and you're saying, let's go. So long as you know how to bore sight and actually sight in.
Sure, assuming
and
it's set up
the
right.
optic,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
long as you know that,
Yeah.
that like you don't just get it, it's already mounted, and you just go to town and hope for the best kind of thing, and then you adjust for everything because that's where it becomes wrong. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be a big proponent of telling people you got to shoot with irons first and go into it, but why?
Right.
Again, why? Because we've come so far in such short amount of time. I mean, I remember getting into this line of work with selling and slinging guns less than 10 years ago,
Mhm.
and we've gone from
I would have never said that.
no
10 years
we've
ago.
gone from single stacks being the Glock 43 and the Shield, and now we have 40 different kinds from 10 different companies that are making
Yeah.
stack and a halves that are able to mount an optic and a weapon light and still be less than a Glock 19. Like, it's incredible, and we're only going to keep getting better and better and better. And then when we have the little implants in our brain and the gun lines up and we're able to see everything, then it's going to be game over. But I'd say for being an automatic to a transmission or manual transmission, yes.
You check your phone, Mr. Ricardo over there. So yeah, that's just the way I see it. Is it takes that one less thing you have to think about. There's a lot when you're shooting a handgun, like you were saying. So John says, "Good evening." We've got what else? Donna says that she's glad to hear
That she's won a new product.
She's not the only one regarding, it can be difficult, or you see the gun moving, right? She said she's not the only one. She's not just bad at holding her gun still.
No, listen, there's always going to be movement in the gun. Like one of the things that I like to do in a lesson, right, is I'll literally take the gun and I'll move it around in a circle, and you're watching me move my gun like this, and then I'll press the trigger when the sights are where I want them, and the gun will go off when it's aligned with the target, right?
Mhm.
So there's always going to be some movement to the gun. It's never going to be perfectly still.
Sure.
It's all about just being ready to fire the gun when you get the visual input that you need, right? So how soon can you get ready? Well, that depends on how soon can you develop the initial sight picture, and then how soon can you manipulate the trigger and then recover your sights and repeat that process. So,
Yeah. John says aged eyes. At 66, he has optics on everything, which is, hey, yeah.
I agree.
It's the way to go.
Yeah, I think that optics on everything is absolutely what you need to do.
Jeremiah counters with, he does believe that irons are a fundamental step. They help reinforce the principles of those fundamentals of marksmanship and shooting.
Mhm.
So
I don't disagree with that.
You're not wrong.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. Just as somebody who has to teach a lot, and I know that Jeremiah also is involved in training soldiers and stuff like that, and has been for a long time. So I'm sure that as a teacher, he's developed a style that works really well for the blocks of instruction that he's
Mhm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, as I've had to develop to the civilian side and more different kinds of people doing more different kinds of things, it seems to me like I can usually find the right tool for the right person, and I have a little bit more flexibility to do that.
Sure.
Versus in the military, like you're given what you're given, and then you have to adapt around that, right? We have just more options now out here in the civilian realm, so I'm able to play with those concepts a little bit more now. So
yeah, I think I had one. We didn't talk about that, Henry, did we?
We did
Talk
not.
about that.
No. Brandon keeps giving me the old timey stuff because I love it.
No
so much.
preparation, just here you go.
So Henry, again, lever actions. Now they're starting to do revolvers, which is super cool. But they are going a step further and taking your AR mags and making it into a lever gun. I think the super cool thing about it is there's a couple of the companies doing it, but what they kind of stepped out and did differently is there's no exposed hammer, which means they are getting out of that original design with the hammer and 21st century. A couple things with that. One, means your trigger pull is going to be consistent and really, really good every single time. Two, there could be a lot of moving parts, which means a mechanical item is going to fail due to the weakest link, and with moving parts in there, that could be an issue. But it just means that they've set the slate for everyone else trying to copy that, which means we're going to see a lot more people coming out with lever guns that take AR mags. So huge win for people in restricted states like New York, and an even huger win for people who have everything but not this. I think it's cool. Will I own one? Maybe. I don't know. I guess I'd have to look at it. If for anyone that has seen the Henry Homesteader, which is their new 9mm pistol caliber carbine, it is the same body style. It's identical. They have copied it verbatim, shy of it not being semi-automatic. So you have that top tank safety like you would your Ruger American rifles, which is super great for ambidextrous shooters. You have a ambidextrous mag release, which is the front tang. So again, for ambidextrous shooters, and the wood furniture looks to be the same, which tells me that if there are two of the same thing being made, a company's going to jump on that and say, we need to make furniture for it. So if you don't like the wood, I guarantee someone else is going to probably switch that up.
aftermarket support inbound.
It's going to be awesome.
When are they going to make a wooden magazine?
That has already been made.
Nebuary.
It's been made.
People make a wooden
Absolutely not. No, come on.
I'm going to put that in an envelope, mail it to myself. You can't steal it. You heard it first here.
No, I'm excited. They're calling it the Lever Action Supreme. So for those of you that don't know, it's going to come with peppers, onions, and a little bit of sausage, and maybe some pepperoni.
That was good.
I'm excited about that. Yeah. Lever Action Supreme coming to you in the second quarter, which means probably third or fourth because of everyone else is going to jump on this. 300 blackout, 556, 223. For those of you who don't know, it's 556. You can do 223.
I have one last little piece of news. I just have to give a shout out to a local student, Ari Lewis. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I've heard the name.
She's actually Brockport's Star Student of the Week this week. So
fantastic.
no big deal.
Yeah,
I basically
pretty
raised
cool.
a genius.
Do they get tax credit for that?
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to write a letter.
What star credit? What is that?
Yeah. She is the Star Student of the Week, though.
Right on.
And
They don't get bumper stickers for
I
that
don't
anymore, do they?
know. They should. My student was the Star Student of the Week.
Let's
right?
make one.
Yeah, we have
The Firing Pin Star Student. There we go. Yeah. Firing Pin's finest.
Congratulations, my love. Good job. She has to do her talent tomorrow.
Wait, there's a
So there's she's the student of the week. So like the first day, I'm sorry, they'll correct me here or maybe make a comment. She had like every day she's had to do something this week, and it's super fun. She loves it. Today she got to read her favorite book in front of the class. And if you guys all know Ari, she is a relatively shy little girl. She's in first grade, right? So she comes to the gun shop. That's a lot for like a little girl. I get it. She sang a solo in chorus today. I'm very proud of her.
very cool.
So she read.
What were we doing with it?
She read her favorite book. She took in today, and then yesterday she had to take in like her favorite. It was like a show and tell, right? So she took in a thing. Foxy, her favorite stuffed animal.
Cool.
And her talent tomorrow that we determine, she can touch her nose with her tongue. And
Hey,
that's
that's
going to
pretty
be
good.
her. She's like, well, other kids have done a cartwheel. I was like, well, sure. Like anybody can learn to do a
Pat
cartwheel.
your head, rub your stomach.
You could spend all year teaching me. I can't touch my nose with my tongue. That's a talent.
What about picking? What about picking your nose?
Oh, she's good
Now
at that.
that
I taught her
with-
that. Yeah.
With your tongue. Just with your tongue.
I taught her that. But yes, shout out to my family. They do exist. They're not made up. I can
I've never seen them, so
This is ChatGPT.
I hear
They're
of
all
them,
just,
but I've never actually met them.
They're all just ChatGPT. So what else do we have? We've got, so Jeremiah says we should get our hands on a BRX-1, Beretta's first bolt rifle, and it's completely amazing. Straight pull action, modular, and ambidextrous.
Very similar
That does sound
to the Benelli.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
Very, very
sounds like
similar
a
to the Benelli.
Blaser R93.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cheap. Yeah, it's very obtainable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obtainable-ish.
Yeah.
Compared to-
Blaser.
yeah.
Sorry, my wallet's like nose dive. I promise you it's that.
So finally, I'm going to get to this little device. Do you want to talk about this?
I think you are subject
Yeah.
matter expert because you.
I'm going to zap
Use
you
it,
with some
yeah.
radar.
Oh, that's not.
So this is the Garmin Zero, spelled XEROC1, I believe is the complete name of it. And it is a chronograph. It's a radar chronograph. So you can use this to see the velocity of your shot. It uses, again, like I said, radar technology. You can pair it to your phone. And if we can get a split screen up right now, maybe. So that was just a screenshot I took off of their app. So you can go through, and it'll show you all this data. You don't need to use that. You can see it all on the device there. But you can have it Bluetooth to your phone. So you can see it all right there. Breaks it out into sessions, right? And I think the neat thing is it works with obviously like pistol and rifle. They also have a air gun setting as well as a bow setting.
Cool.
So you can use this with your bow and arrow, assuming your crossbow too, you could use it with. I like that it gets very granular. You actually say what the weight of your projectile is if you know it. You don't need to put that in there, but it helps it be more accurate with its rating. So you can dial that in, and it's good all the way up to 5,000 feet per second. So there's really not many projectiles that even come with like 22,
That is-
250.
17
we were looking up-
maybe.
That's- Yeah.
Yeah,
Close.
like
Fast.
you're getting up. There's a few that are 4,000 ish or just over like 4,200 ish, but you're getting up. This will be around. I mean, they can come out with some crazy wildcats, and you'll still be good to go. with this.
7.62 Lazzaroni Firebird.
So we were all kind of joking, like I don't reload. I don't do precision rifle really.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily have a use for this. I think it's a super cool tool to have.
You've never
If
been known to do that.
You are a reloader. I mean, I bought it. We're going to rent this out, basically, is what I want or what I envision for this. So if you are a reloader, if you want to have some of the most accurate information you're going to be able to get, if you are a precision rifle shooter, and you want to dial in some of your loads, whatever you want to do, let us know. We'll rent this to you. I don't know, $25 a day. We'll rent this to you. Pulling that number out of my butt. But I am going to pull a Forrest Gump, and I'm going to run because I have to go to the bathroom.
I gotta go pee.
All right. Bye,
Cool.
Brandon.
Later. So, do we have any more questions,
questions?
comments, concerns, bitches, gripes, complaints?
Somebody was asking about the price. We don't have any in stock, but it's going MSRP 600 on those.
Of the Zero?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're $600 MSRP. They'll probably be closer to like the 525, 550 range if we were to sell it to you. Try before you buy. Brandon just said $25 a day, $50, but 25 goes to me and the rest goes to shop. Just for just kidding. But no, I'm not. No, seriously. These are really cool.
Yeah.
They are so hard to get. I mean, but they're also so new.
Yeah.
They're new within the past 4 months. I want to say that they have dropped them. I have been super impressed just with the videos I've seen on it. I have been even more impressed that Brandon was able to pair this to his phone, go outside and have this with accurate data within 15 minutes. I mean, there's no setup. There's nothing you have to really do. There's no data that needs to be thinking about. He just went out, did it, and that was done.
Get the app,
Over with,
Bluetooth connect to your phone.
Super, super cool. USB-C to charge it, so super common now, I guess. None of the iPhone Lightning or the micro charging dealios. You get a charger with it, and it's just an app. The app's free, so they give you a little QR code. You can scan it for your Play Store or the Apple Store, and it's really the one thing I think was a little bit of a bummer is how much you're spending on it. It doesn't come in like a cool little carrying case or something. That's what you see is what you get in a cardboard box. But this does come off, and you can, I guess, have like your little load data set up and everything like that. Yeah, made in Taiwan. I just made a bunch of people mad.
At least it's true China.
Yeah,
Right.
true China, Western. Yeah, but yeah, I think it's cool. I like the color.
If you rock a Garmin watch, you can put it in your
Oh,
watch.
the instincts and stuff like that,
So like
or
Phoenix,
the
right?
the
Isn't
Phoenix
that-
there.
or-
So that's really cool
Is it
because
Garmin?
that means
Oh, that has ballistic.
yeah. So that means you're able to pair it to your phone, and your phone pairs to your watch. And as opposed to look at this, you can,
Mhm.
as you're shooting, you're able to look at your wrist and go from there.
Plus, there's
Not a Phoenix, but
There's a Phoenix with the ballistic character.
there is. I don't know how good those work
So
because
would it work with that?
Should all tie
I
in.
is there a way to ask Garmin, like ask Siri, Garmin, turn up?
Hey, Garmin.
Well,
But
so
does it come with a sticker? I don't remember.
I
seeing one.
scoured that box, not a thing. So huge miss. Reach out to customer service. We know you're watching, Garmin. Make it happen.
What's I don't even know what MSRP is on that.
600 bones.
600
I told them
talked
between
about
like 525, 550 for the TFP.
This
the
one
TFP
I got
prices.
it. I don't want to say gray market, but I bought it like from another dealer who does a lot. Like we haven't been able to get one of these yet,
He had a bunch and
He got a
graciously
bunch,
let a
yeah.
bunch of people buy it.
so they say their bow sight just comes in a cardboard box too. Kind of sucks depending on how much money you know.
Yeah. Which it doesn't matter. You're getting the product. I just thought it'd be nice to have, if you're going to be
Mhm.
using this in the field, to have
Seems like
something.
companies used to care more about packaging. And
Yeah.
different little doodads. Some still do, yeah.
maybe
Some have
if you
gotten
got it
more.
made in the U.S., but Taiwan said
nice.
sorry.
It'd be nice to see a little like almost like a
A GoPro
like,
setup, yeah, where you can
silicone
like hook it up to something.
mount.
Yeah.
Well, I was even just like the rubberized, like a phone
Oh,
case
to protect it.
Just if you drop, because you're gonna drop
Yeah.
it. 100%.
Oh, it's
You know
gonna
what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else? We call it.
I have nothing other than I can't wait to see you all on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Look for us goobers. We'll be there.
Share the video.
Share the video,
Yeah,
like, subscribe.
share, all of those things. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Watch Lil Dicky's new album. It's really good. Not a sponsor, but we know you're watching. So
We
thanks.
had 7 people sign up for the course since we've been talking.
Incredible. Yeah, Lil
Yeah.
Dicky's one of them.
Yeah.